Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
So massive government reform.
Yeah. You got to work with Congress to eliminate the billets. This is one of the things we did when I was deputy DNI. We got to DNI and I was like, okay, what do all these people do? We've got the CIA, so why do I have analysts doing the CIA's job here? Why do I have a floor of them? Like, give me a good answer. I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But if you can give me an answer that satisfies their existence, I'm all in. Well, we just have our own people. Okay, well, now we don't. And we went to Congress and zeroed out a bunch of billets, and they hated us for it.
That, my friends, is the next director of the FBI, the one and only Kash Patel. Trump did it. Over the weekend, Trump sent shockwaves throughout the swamp by nominating the deep state's worst nightmare as the next FBI director. So what can we expect to happen from here? Well, that is what we're going to cover in this video. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to celebrate the dawning of a new golden age. So if you'd like a front row seat to everything having to do with the rise of a new conservative age, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we dive in here, gang, as you know, the holidays are upon us, and you know what that means. It's a crazy, stressful time of year, from shopping for gifts, hosting family, and attending endless parties. The pressure can really start to rise. Now, that's why I want to tell you about the magnesium breakthrough from Bioptimizers. Now, this isn't your average magnesium supplement. It contains the full spectrum of 7 proven forms of magnesium to target every system in your body. Magnesium is essential for managing stress and maintaining a calm, balanced mood. However, most people are deficient, which can lead to poor stress response, fatigue, and even poor sleep quality. Magnesium Breakthrough helps balance your levels so you can better handle the holiday madness. The unique blend of magnesium citrate, glycinate, taurate, and more ensures maximum absorption and utilization by your cells. This comprehensive formula supports everything from relaxation to energy production so you can power through the season without burning out. So don't let stress and burnout ruin your holidays. Get Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers and give your body the magnesium it craves. It's the perfect gift for yourself or a loved one this holiday season. Now, for an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/Turley or just click on the link below and use promo code Turley during checkout to save 10%. And if you subscribe, not only will you be getting amazing discounts and free gifts, you'll make sure your monthly supply is guaranteed. Make sure to click on that link below right now. So let's talk about Kash Patel and why this was probably Trump's biggest home run pick yet. Now, as I'm sure you all know, over the last few years, over 20 whistleblowers from within the FBI have all come out testifying to the rampant political corruption within the ranks of the agency. And Kash Patel has firsthand knowledge of precisely that corruption. Bottom line, President Trump could not have picked a more awesome nominee to completely revamp the FBI. Kash Patel is extremely bright. He was a prosecutor, he was a public defender, he was a senior intelligence advisor to the president, he was chief of staff at the Department of Defense. He was the deputy director of national intelligence under the leadership of Devin Nunes. And as Devin Nunes' right-hand man, he mastered the intricacies of FBI bureaucracy. He was one of the primary investigators into the whole ridiculously corrupt saga of Hillary Clinton's Russian collusion hoax, as well as everyone inside the FBI who was involved. He helped to uncover the FBI operation they called Crossfire Hurricane, which, as many of you know, involved the deliberate attempt by the Obama administration officials like FBI Director James Comey and his deputy director, Andrew McCabe, to sabotage the Trump candidacy. I mean, if you recall, Comey and McCabe on 4 different occasions obtained FISA warrants to spy on Trump by submitting a fraudulent anti-Trump Russian dossier as grounds for those FISA warrants, even though they knew that the document was in fact a fabrication by an opposition research team, which we now know as Fusion GPS. It was hired and paid for by the Clinton campaign. So they knew that they were attempting to obtain these warrants using fraudulent information. So we have a number of incidents of FISA abuse, and Kash has first-hand knowledge of that. We've got unwarranted spying on a presidential campaign, and then eventually the president himself. We have premeditated fraud and the like. And Kash Patel knows these people, and he knows exactly what the FBI did. He's long known about what Mark Zuckerberg eventually admitted to openly on the Joe Rogan show, as well as what we found out from the Twitter files, that Facebook, along with Twitter, worked directly with FBI agents to censor information that was damaging to the establishment, most especially involving the Hunter Biden laptop. A number of whistleblowers have testified that ever since January 6th, the FBI has been exaggerating the threats of what they've termed domestic terrorism, using the J6 investigation as a pretext to harassing American citizens. You had, of course, the FBI actually investigating parents protesting their woke school boards. Parents! This after the Justice Department granted a request from the National School Boards Association to use, I kid you not, to use the Patriot Act, an act involving dealing with domestic terrorists against parents protesting at school board meetings. And around the same time, we found out from a bombshell whistleblower report that the FBI's Richmond field office released an internal memo warning against what they called radical traditionalist Catholic ideology, which in turn involved the FBI spying on traditionalist Catholic parishes and groups that they considered breeding grounds for white supremacists. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then, of course, we learned that Facebook was actually spying on the private messages and data of American users and in turn reporting them to the FBI if they expressed what Facebook called anti-government or anti-authority sentiments. And these private citizens were reporting those messages to the Domestic Terrorism Unit at the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. And these, of course, were all precursors to the original crossing of the Rubicon with the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago. So Kash Patel is intimately familiar with all of this. And so nominating Patel signals nothing less than the fact that fundamental change is coming to the FBI. Kash knows that he has to go way beyond simply firing and replacing officials at the top or some select personnel. This is going to be systemic. This is going to require a total refurbishing of the entire agency. Now, what that involves, we don't yet know. We do know what's been discussed. So you heard it earlier. Kash has said that he would move the headquarters of the FBI out of Washington, D.C. That's what he means about turning the J. Edgar Hoover building into a museum of the deep state. There's the possibility of breaking up some of the agencies and outsourcing them to other investigative bodies throughout the federal government, such as Homeland Security. There's the possibility of breaking up the FBI into 4 or 5 agencies, with one responsible for counterintelligence, one for counterterrorism, one for complex white-collar crime, one for cyber crimes, and so on. But the key here is that they're going to have to break up all of this concentrated power that's going completely unchecked and is now being used for political retribution and lawfare and can simply no longer be trusted. So what happens next? Now that Kash Patel has been nominated, what happens next? Well, ironically, the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, was appointed by Trump back in 2017 after he fired James Comey. And Christopher Wray still has 3 more years left in his 10-year tenure. But the FBI director serves at the discretion of the president. So by nominating Kash Patel this early on, Trump has basically told Wray, pack your bags. He said he's told Wray, you're fired. You're fired. So now the question is, does Wray resign before Trump's inauguration, or does he wait to get fired? I'd put my money, frankly, on resignation, him tendering his resignation. And it looks like he won't be alone. Word on the street is that a number of agents are promising to resign before Trump's inauguration as an act of defiance and protest against him and Kash Patel. And pretty much everybody's response is, well, you don't have to convince us. We already support Kash, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's like deep state self-deporting. So I think we would all in one voice say, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Kash will have to go through a Senate confirmation. Elon Musk has already stated quite boldly that Kash is the red line in the sand. Any Republican senator voting against him will face a primary challenger funded by the richest man on the planet. But that doesn't look like it's going to need to be done. Here's Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Listen, I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee. I think the entire slate of cabinet nominees President Trump has put forward is very strong. I believe every one of these cabinet nominees is going to be confirmed by the Senate. I think Kash Patel is going to be confirmed by the Senate. You look at his background. He has a serious professional background. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. He was a senior intelligence staffer on Capitol Hill. He was a senior intelligence staffer in the White House. He was the chief of staff of the Department of Defense. He was the deputy director of national intelligence. And I got to say, all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth, all of the people pulling their hair out, are exactly the people who are dismayed about having a real reformer come into the FBI and clean out the corrupted partisans who sadly have burrowed into senior career positions at the FBI. The FBI and the Department of Justice are two institutions incredibly important to the rule of law in the United States. I revere both. And one of the most tragic consequences of 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is both DOJ and the FBI have been politicized and weaponized. And I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
So it looks like it's more or less a done deal. Kash Patel will be at the FBI, head the FBI, together with Pam Bondi heading the new Department of Justice. They are together going to work to completely overturn and reform these two thoroughly corrupt institutions. But if Kash is successful in overturning and reforming the FBI, he will have effectively ended what is, in many respects, the heart of the deep state. Of all the national security agencies, it is the FBI that keeps resurfacing as perhaps the most reckless and ruthless of them all. As such, Kash Patel won't be just taking down the corrupt FBI. He'll be taking down, perhaps finally and decisively, the deep state as well.